Welcome back. We're back. Two fans, one Paul. Myself, David Quist, lovely co-host KB Kirk Brown, and a jam-packed full weekend of wins, losses. We got the Lions on right now. Incomplete pass, KB. Sunday Night Football. James Franklin's fired. Michigan State hot seat is hot. We'll break it down. Michigan lost. That'll be a good one to talk about as well, KB. But another interesting Saturday with some close games, upsets, and people getting fired already. You love to see it.
Yeah, not a great weekend for either of us. There's some, I would say, surprising game results in the games that we specifically talked about. Like Florida State losing again is huge. They're 0-3 in the ACC after coming off and having a huge win to start the season. So whole bunches of shakeups, and we're doing good out here. We had a bunch of storm and weather, so we've cooled down. We're no longer chilling in the hundreds. You're in the 80s today, so. And we didn't have the sun beating down on us. So we're doing good out here in Arizona. Obviously, hate the results this weekend, but a lot of stuff to talk about. Quist, if you want to kick us off, get us to the first game.
Yeah, first game, Ohio State beats Illinois 34-16. Kind of what we expected here, KB. Kind of thought it would have been more. They were leading big most of the game. Towards the end, Illinois put up a little bit of a fight because they were up 20-0, and then it was 34-10, and then kind of a late touchdown for Illinois. I believe one of Illinois' running backs got hurt. They could not run well.
Oh, it was gross.
It was bad.
It was gross. He got rolled up. He was like in a pile, and his leg got trapped, and the dude bent him back to stop him from going forward, and his knee just went. It was gross. Gross.
Not great. Ohio State's defense stands tall against the run, 27 for 47 carries to yards. They ran the ball okay on Ohio State's side, but they kind of just did what they had to do. The defense stood tall. Sayan played smart, 19 for 27, $166, 2 touchdowns. Nothing crazy I'm looking at right now. The stat line, KB, really pops out to me.
Yeah, I was able to watch this game. Obviously, Quist, you were at your game, which we'll get into later. But this feels like a Michigan Jim Harbaugh approach, that Ohio State knows that they have a really, really good defense, and they still have a really young offense, breaking in a bunch of new players outside of like Jeremiah Smith. And so they're just like, hey, we're going to play smart. We're not going to get overly aggressive, and we're just going to play smart fundamental football. And they can blow teams out doing it because they're so much better. I mean, the defense forced 3 turnovers. Altmaier missed. I mean, I'm not saying this defense is bad when I say this, but there was like opportunities there for Illinois to make some plays. And I just feel like you're always so tense playing against this OSU team that like they just don't make those plays. Like there was a 3rd down and 7. Hank Beatty was wide open. It was like a 7-0 game, and he misses them horribly. It was 4th down and 1. Ohio State shifts. It was 4th down and 1 from the goal line. Illinois was going for it. Ohio State shifts, false start from Illinois player, backs him up. They kicked the field goal. So it was kind of just like that. It was a plethora of errors. A punter took a punt and caught the ball with a knee down. So OSU got the ball from the knee down spot. So Illinois didn't play a good game. Ohio State kept the pressure on, played sound fundamental football, and blew them out. It isn't the wow that we're used to kind of seeing from the offense, but they don't have to be that at this point in the season. I think that they really want to protect Sayan, keep him, within the bounds of the offense that he understands. But yeah, really impressive performance by OSU. I picked Illinois in this game. I was wrong. I thought they would cover. I thought they'd come out with more fight. And OSU, I mean, there's talk on who's the best team in the country. What does this look like? I mean, OSU right now is playing heads and above anyone else kind of in the country with how consistently they're coming out week to week and performing.
Yeah, curious to see how Illinois bounces back to the rest of the year, KB. Their schedule isn't terrible. I mean, at Washington could be a loss, but they got Rutgers, Maryland, Wisconsin, Northwestern. Knowing the Big Ten now and what happened this weekend, I don't think any game is guaranteed. But if this Illinois team has some fight, they could easily go 9-3, 8-4. I said in their preview for the season that they're one of my sleeper teams with Texas Tech and somebody else. I'm blanking right now, but that could be kind of right on that one. But just keep an eye on these teams and how they react. Going out west, as we have seen, KB is never easy. So we'll keep an eye out on Illinois. In OSU, I think they could go.
I mean, the rest of their schedule, the only team that has a winning record is Michigan. That's the only team that has a winning record that they play the rest of the year.
That's insane.
Because Penn State obviously disappointed. Now that season isn't over. We've seen interim head coaches, wink, wink, again, what we'll talk about later, take over and improve a team. But this is a real opportunity for Ohio State to easily cruise in the 1 seed, be able to get a bye, and be back into a chance of winning back-to-back natties, which would be really impressive with how much they turned over from this team, top to bottom.
For sure, good take, KB. We'll go to the next game. I watched a lot of highlights of this one. I know it was kind of close towards the end. They had a chance. Missouri falls to Bama 27-24. Hopefully, I don't know how you were able to lock in this one, KB. The noon slate was kind of packed, but I'll throw it to you first. See what you got.
Yeah, I mean, this was the game I was more locked into. Is definitely bouncing between the Illinois, the Illinois game, OSU, and then checking in on the MSU UCLA, mostly just laughing.
Garbage.
But Missouri Alabama was the key one here, and I mean, I think we got to put a round of applause for Ty Simpson. He had a really bad first game, and he looked unprepared, unsettled to be the starting quarterback at a D1 university. And since then, he's handled pressure well. He's gotten the ball out. There was a 4th down when I think Missouri turned the ball over. I can't remember exactly what happened. Alabama gets the ball back. It was their score to go up 27-24. And it's like a 4th down and 5. And he absolutely rips a corner route perfectly in stride to a true freshman who hangs on for it. It was really, really beautiful ball. And look, all things considered, Missouri played a big game, or a pretty good game. I think that they didn't get the ball to Ahmed Hardy enough. He only had 12 carries for 52 yards. I thought that he got some good carries early, but as the game wore on, it kind of felt like they were having to play catch-up. Bo Perbula had 11 carries in this game. I know part of that is sacks, as Alabama only had 2, though. So it was really him running the ball a little bit more, escaping out of the pocket. But in this Mizzou game, you really got to respect them. That's the end of it. And look, they finished the season. They have number 17 Vanderbilt. They have Auburn, Vanderbilt, A&M, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Arkansas. So a very manageable second half where if they win, they can still drop one and be right in the playoff, which is a fun story for Bo, who left Penn State to go achieve his own wanting to be starter status and is playing decent football. Obviously, Alabama had them in twists. There was also one thing I want to mention in this game before we can move on, Quist. Damani Jackson is a cornerback for Alabama, and he look up the play. It was the first touchdown that Missouri scored. He literally runs off of the field instead of tackling the guy. I don't know if he had something going on. It is a very odd play. I saw a lot of people say, "Oh, his controller disconnected," because he dropped back. He saw the pass get caught, and he just runs out of bounds, and the guy runs past him for a touchdown. It's very odd, very odd. At least to say, but if that was one of the fun highlights of this game, especially for Missouri. But it was a really, really good game, fought to the very end, and one of the things that came out of this, Jam Miller did get injured in this game, so that is a cause of concern because he was a huge part of their rushing production when he returned.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Mizzou with only 28 carries compared to Bama with 43. I know some sacks are sprinkled in there, because they had 10 carries for Simpson there. But yeah, we've been saying it all season, KB. When Simpson has time, he is a solid quarterback, throws a good ball, and he's pretty good at making decisions as well. Yeah, I would love to see Hardy run the ball more. Pibula is really athletic, so it makes sense why he gets those carries. And I was watching the end. Mizzou had a chance, and when he threw that pick at the end, there was a guy out wide that was just wide open, and he was freaking out, which I understand.
Would have got him in field goal range at the minimum.
Yeah.
It is one of those throws, right, where you're a young quarterback and you want to get it to a playmaker and you just chuck it and you don't actually go through your reads, right? We've seen that before. It was unfortunate because that would have been an opportunity to tie it, and some Missouri fans were saying hey, that's one of our fastest players. If he caught that, he could have housed it.
Yeah.
So.
Also, too, I did not know Mizzou's stadium was getting an upgrade, so I was watching the highlights back, and I was like, oh, there's a bunch of construction. At least it's better than Vandy last year, where Vandy, I think, was holding the scoreboard with cranes or some crazy shit. But yeah, shout out to Mizzou for, expanding that, and, I always loved the Block M and the Stones. I don't know if that's still in the stadium, but that's always been a cool look, and
that's the end that they're impacting. So I do wonder if they're going to keep that for a very elite student section, or at least the Stones for it. But I hope that returns, and I like the field aspect or a hill aspect for it. And then obviously they added some seatings because that used to just be all a hill there.
Interesting. I got nothing else to say, KB. It was a good game. Mizzou was a team that I like to ride with. Honestly, Bama did just enough, and they've gotten so much better since that first loss to Florida State. Florida State's gotten worse. Kalen DeBoer is doing a heck of a coaching job, and it's a long season. If you can figure out and coach your guys up and get better, things can look good. It's crazy. Who would have thought? Just like this next game, I think there's a hell of a coaching job here. Texas wins 23-6 over Oklahoma. Not what I was expecting at all. I don't think Mateer should have played. His hand was all, if you look back, he had some tape on it or something on it. He went 20 for 38 with 3 picks, and he ran the ball 14 carries for 5 yards. So obviously he got sacked a good amount. I thought the Texas scheme on offense was smart. It was a lot of short plays. Wisner ran well. Bless you.
I'm sorry, I tried muting myself.
No, you're good. You're good. You did mute yourself. I was just being nice. I thought Arch did well. A lot of short passing game. 21 for 27, 166. Let him just be kind of in control. Nothing crazy. Wisner out on a state. He ran pretty well, just like last year. And the Texas defense stood tall. I think that does go a little bit on Venables and Mateer for pushing him a little bit too quick to start. I think they might have been okay with the backup. I know he's not a passer per se, but he would have been healthy and ready to go. But Texas showed up. Texas played well. That defense took a big step up. And Oklahoma's season, I think, will be fine. They've looked really good. Hopefully Mateer's hand gets healthy. But like you were kind of saying in the preview, KB, he could have taken some nicks and hits here and there because, it's his throwing hand. So every time you're gripping that ball, or getting a little nick on it, it's probably getting agitated and not fully healed. So not a great look for Oklahoma, but it's one game. It's a big rival game. Texas looks good. Smart game by them, and looking forward to see where they can go. You never know with a crazy SEC schedule.
Yeah, and I think the crazy thing is that Texas was playing a true freshman left guard, and then their left tackle went out, and then they had a first-time starting left tackle. I believe that was a redshirt freshman. So they were finding pieces, and they came up. This is the offense that I think we kind of all envisioned is less traditional drop back, more 3-step drop. Hey, this is the first read. If not, get it to a check down. We're going to screen them up. We're going to get the ball out of Arch's hands. And then Arch can do what, honestly, all things considered, Arch hasn't been great in just dropping back and reading defenses and going through his keys. I think we can all kind of say that. He hasn't been consistent in his footwork. But extending plays and making plays off balance. There was a play in this game which was one of the most impactful. I think it was when it was still a one-score game. It was 13-6 or maybe even 10-6. Can't remember exactly what time frame, but it was a one-score game. And Arch avoided the rush, got it to Quintavious Wisner as a check down, and then Wisner made 4 dudes miss for a 35-yard completion, flipped the field, ended up scoring on that drive. So those are the key things that I thought we all expected for Arch, and that I think Sark thought that he would be able to get more of the traditional drop back out of him, and it hasn't quite been there yet. But this was a really good performance. And then I think that there's some misunderstandings on not only is Mateer playing with a hand injury, because there's some comments of oh yeah, it's Mateer's hand injury, but he's throwing perfect spirals to Texas. He probably didn't practice this week. I think that's what people don't understand. When you're battling an injury like this, you're not practicing full-time high-speed reps. Maybe you're getting the walkthrough reps, maybe you're getting 1 or 2 things, but especially with how late this is, and he hasn't practiced for 2 weeks. So even if he did, let's say, get cleared Wednesday to fully participate in practice, you basically have 2 days of practice to jam in what should have been 15 days. That's the impact of injuries like this. It's not the fact that he was throwing good spirals, and of course, you can throw good spirals and the ball sails on you because you don't have exactly the right grip. So, that's its own point, but it's also, the limitations from that. But, yeah, really impressive performance. Indiana's season obviously gets really hard. I think they have 5 consecutive ranked opponents coming up where they have to go into a lot of these away opponents. But Texas gets a huge bounce-back win. I think all things considered, their path is still well within their reach. They have some tough games down the stretch, but the season isn't over. But, yeah, really impressive performance and really a fun rivalry, right? These teams always come out and fight really hard.
Yeah, Oklahoma's got South Carolina, and then, like you said, KB, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Bama, Mizzou, LSU.
Yeah.
Yikes, brother. Good luck. He'll earn that Heisman if they kill it and maybe lose one more and he really steps up and gets healthy. He could easily win the Heisman with those games.
Season with that remaining conference slate, like losing 2 of those games is honestly like really, really impressive.
Fair enough. Red River shootout, pew pew. We still say it over here at 2 Fans 1 Paul. But next game before our games, KB, and other news this weekend, Indiana, 2 years is very relevant program, wins in Eugene, 30-20. Dante Moore didn't look too great, 21 for 34, 186, a pick, 2 picks, and a touchdown. They did not run the ball well, 30 carries for 81 for Oregon, 37 for 111 and 2 touchdowns. Hemby had an okay game for Indiana. Elijah Surratt is really good, 8 catches, 121 and a touchdown. Last one, I could have said a little bit of a push-off, but the touchdown, hey, it doesn't matter. And this Indiana defense did a heck of a job. Going out there, Coach Signetti got a little into the refs. He's got a lot of energy. He's kind of got that smart-ass personality, KB. And, if you compare this hire to Michigan State's hire, it's something that a lot of people bring up, and it's crazy to see what he's done. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into that. We can break that down more, but what a tremendous win for Indiana, now ranked 3rd in the AP poll, which I don't think either of us would have thought about that when we started this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, when we started it a couple of years ago, right, Michigan was playing in, the playoffs and stuff. We hadn't even expanded yet, and Indiana's just done a tremendous job. And this is, hand up, I said, I can't believe in Indiana until they, come out and show against a good team that they can dominate, because whenever they played a step up of competition, I felt like they got overwhelmed at the point of attack. They had 6 sacks. They didn't let them run down their throat. Now, one of the key moments of this game, right, you see a 10-point game. It was a close game. It was a 1-score game for the majority of it, right? Dante Moore throws 2 late picks. One of them, I believe, was a tipped pass, and the other one was just like a dumb late decision where he tried forcing it, which is always pretty relevant. But 6 sacks in this game. They kept him off his spot. They were able to move him. They made him uncomfortable. But there was one moment in this game, and it happened early. It was Oregon goes for a 4th and 1. On 2nd down, Noah Whittington had a 1st down easy, and he tried to make a move, tried to get around him, gets tackled a yard short. They turn it over on that 4th and 1 that immediately leads to Indiana points. Those are the little things, right, in games that you have to keep an eye on, because if he just runs and gets a 1st down, and you might be like, why are 1st downs? No, go for the explosive. No, getting 1st downs is so important to maintain drives, keep the other team off the field. And I felt like that really swung the momentum, because Indiana gets a 4th down stop. Oregon is kind of shell-shocked, put on a short field. Indiana scores to take a lead in this game. And that all kind of, comes full circle at the end of this game. Mm-hmm. But really, really impressive performance. I don't think that either of these teams I have a different belief in. I think the big thing is here, too, it started raining at the end of the game, late 3rd quarter, 4th quarter, so I know that impacts things. But really, really impressive win by Indiana. I want to give them all of their flowers. They have everything within their bounds. They are playing MSU next week. We'll see how that goes. Then they have UCLA, who's playing really well.
Yep.
They have Maryland, Penn State, Wisconsin, Purdue.
It's very winnable.
Look, they could go undefeated. 2 years ago, Kurt Signetti said, I'm going to show up into the Big Ten and win. Why can't I win at Indiana? I win everywhere I go. Look me up. And me and you talked about it. We were like, dude, this guy's going to fucking... This isn't going to go well. Whatever, dude. You don't win at Indiana. This is legitimately the worst Division I program in FBS history. They have the most losses. They've been around for the longest, and they've achieved nothing.
Yeah.
So this is awesome for them. This is awesome for their fans. This is awesome for the fact that Notre Dame is in the same state and kind of always big brothers them. Indiana's kind of irrelevant to them, and they're able to show up and be a big boy program because they're the second fiddle in their state, right? And they're able to go do this, which is really, really, really incredible. They're known for basketball school, and it just goes to show when you have good coaching, when you expect more out of people, when you get in guys, not just good guys, right? Because people want to talk about 13 talent range. Like D'Angelo Pounds is going to be like a second-round draft pick. He's a 5'8" cornerback. And Carr, who's on the inside, number 6 or 8 or whatever, he's going to be like a second-round draft pick. Like, they have talented players because they've been developed and because not all the time are recruits the be-all, end-all of it, right? That's kind of what this shows. And not that he doesn't have good players, but that's the truth, right? He has players playing at high levels. Elijah Surratt looks like a first-round wide receiver.
Yes, for sure. He's good. Really good.
And it's really impressive. Indiana is, for anyone listening to this that isn't a close like friend or family from like the Midwest, like Indiana is the laughing stock. Them and Purdue are like the laughing stocks of the Big Ten and for football. And this is incredible. I'm so happy for everyone and all those fans because good on you guys.
I was actually talking to a kid that was in East Lansing from the other side of the state, and he goes to IU. And I was just like, he's wearing a school ball shirt, so I had to talk to him. Rest in peace to the Tiger Stadium, or Tiger season. But yeah, I mean, thinking about what we've seen, KB, the old brass platoon is the trophy that we play for. It's been, I feel like, in East Lansing forever, and like that was always a game you notch up as a win. And now seeing what a coach like him can do, these players, obviously there's some transfers. A lot of JMU guys came with him, and they're good. It doesn't matter if they're JMU guys, transfers, or Indiana guys that stayed. They're doing their job. They're playing good football. And, even as much as Cignetti can be a D-bag or whatever you want to call him, like he said himself, KB, he wins. And that's all that matters. Because when you win, no one's coming after you. You're not getting fired. No one's asking you. No one's worried about a $30 million buyout or whatever the hell Franklin got.
74.
It's insane. You're happy. And they'll probably throw more money. They're going to get more money. And you're going to get guys that want to play there because that team wins. I want to play for a winning team. That's kind of how it works. It's like kind of a good snowball effect in that sense when you win.
And another cool fact is that when you win, people want to go to that school. People want to go to football games.
Bloomington's
people
cool
want to
too.
attend that university. Alabama, look at what happened to them when they started winning.
Yeah.
That they blew up in enrollment. Same with Texas A&M when they had Johnny Football there. Like there's real world university impacts from your football team being good, being competitive, people wanting to go there.
Yeah.
And it couldn't happen to a better university.
Great school.
Great school. And like people will attend IU and be like fans of other schools. Like they'll legit be like, well, like I'm not going to be a fan of IU football. Like I'm from Nebraska. I had a professor that went to IU. His dad was on faculty at IU. He was a Nebraska fan. He didn't give a fuck about IU football. like that's the level that this university was at, and now they're redeeming themselves, and it's awesome. Is my point. And I'm not trying to like shit on them. I'm saying like it's possible for universities to do this if you find the right coach, and I hope Cignetti stays there. I hope they build him a fucking giant statue bigger than the stadium itself. And he is abrasive, but you gotta love that about him, right? That's why he wins. That's why he is how he is.
Yeah, hopefully I can get down to Bloomington once my team's a little bit better. Do we want to jump into the Michigan game and the State game and then talk about Franklin Wright? So next game, Michigan goes out to Cali. They lose 13-31. I'll be quick, KB, and I'll let you talk some more. When I was watching the game, I thought USC kind of was in control of this game. Their defense looked good. Michigan's offense was kind of hit and miss. Didn't run the ball that well compared to USC for 224 and 2 touchdowns. King Miller had a heck of a day. 18 carries for
third string running back too.
Yeah, because Wayman James was their top guy. He was okay. I thought Mayeva was in control. Had a bad pick in the red zone, but they just seemed like they were ready to go. And Michigan, maybe it's the travel or whatever it might be. They were just a little step behind here. USC kind of dominated the game, 31-13.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame travel. Like that's not an excuse. I'm gonna talk about 3 weird calls in this game that I just want to like mention because, and this isn't why they lost. I just like genuinely don't understand what refereeing is about. The first one was on the first touchdown of the game. Jacoby Lane engaged the defensive back with a block, which you can't do, and then threw him 2 yards to the left and ran his route and scored a touchdown. I literally watched the play and I was like, what is our defensive back doing? Like, how did he get burned like that? And I watched the replay and the dude engages him with a block and chucks him. And then on the backside to start the second half, Michigan gets called for an offensive pass interference while the ball was like entering the wide receiver's hands. The dude who ran the go route and the DB who wasn't covering anyone engages in a block. It didn't impact the play at all. The completion was there. The DB wasn't breaking on it. And then the last one in the Bryce Underwood pick, which wasn't a bad throw. Although Ohio State fans are jerking all over themselves about it. Like, oh, I thought this was the best all-world true freshman.
He's 17 or 18 years old.
Yeah, 18. But anyway, the defensive back gets caught on a double move. And our wide receiver gets grabbed so hard, he doesn't have an opportunity to turn and look for the ball. He literally has to 360 because he beats him on the inside. The dude grabs him, and he can't turn around to look for the football. I've never seen those calls get missed. I've never seen that happen. And that's just mind-blowing to me. It's not right. And Michigan still loses this game because they weren't as good in the trenches. Don't worry, I'm going to complain about it. But, we have to demand more. That's inexcusable, what we saw in this game. 3 plays. 2 of them were... One was a touchdown, one was an interception. The other one backed Michigan up in the first play of the second half and versus a first down. Huge implications for this. All right, so I complained about those 3 plays. Didn't impact the game nearly enough. Michigan couldn't tackle. And it wasn't so much of a I'm not in position to make the plays. It's I'm out of control, not breaking down, flailing my arms. Michigan had a 4th and 1 opportunity at their USC's 34, own 34, where they went for it on a 4th and 1. We had 3 guys that had an opportunity to tackle Wayman James behind the line of scrimmage, and all 3 of them missed.
Yes.
And he gained his 11 yards. Then you have the 3rd down and 28. And we run a fake sim pressure for whatever fucking reason. You don't need to blitz. It's 3rd and 28. There's 2 plays you can call. One's a screen and one's a run. That's basically all you're calling in that scenario unless the game's on the line. And he puts his linebackers down on the line of scrimmage and they have to back up. Well, when they have to back up, they're moving away from the run and seams open up, and then our safety comes down and literally, I'm not even going to call it an Olay, because that means that he got close enough to Olay. Horrible, horrible effort to tackle someone. And this has been a problem since Moore got there, is that this team is undisciplined. They don't tackle well. They don't tackle in space. They don't break down. They're out of control. And then when you look at the offense, they've gone on the road against 2 good defenses. And I'm not going to say good defenses, but competent defenses. Nebraska's not a competent defense. They scored 13 points. There needs to be something, man, because there's so many opportunities. And I'm going to call out Bryce. He sees pressure and his eyes drop and he runs.
I know how that goes.
And because there was times in this game where if Bryce just took a beat and dropped a little further back in the pocket or just moved up while keeping his pocket posture where he could have made throws, and he didn't. Mm-hmm. And he didn't play a horrible game. I thought he played an okay game, but it was just a disappointing effort. This team didn't play physical. And then at the end of the day, Wink. I said this in the preview, man, and I'm not smart. I don't know football. I don't know the X's and O's. I go, you can't blitz them. They're going to fucking screen you to death. And what do we do for fucking 3.5 quarters? We blitz and blitz and blitz, and the linebackers are nowhere to be seen because they're either dropping 13 yards back because you have a funky fucking play, or they're blitzing. So they ran 12 tunnel screens. I swear to fucking God. I was like, I've never seen this many tunnel screens, and we just don't cover running backs in this defense. It is a poorly coached defense. I'm not yelling at the players. I'm yelling at the players for tackling. That's on you. Break down and tackle because they were in position to make plays. But you get fucked over when your coach is calling all these weird fucking looks and you're in bad positions all the time because guess what? It's 3rd and 12. What do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to drop back and let your pass rush get after them? I saw people complaining about Michigan's pass rush. No, the ball was out in 1.9 seconds and under 2 seconds because they were throwing a screen or he was going to his first read because they were open every fucking time. He started this game 14 of 14. I was like, oh, is this NCAA? I think he just did that in NCAA against me.
He did.
Horrible performance. And I think the worst thing about it too is I follow a bunch of Michigan accounts, some guys that have played ball that know ball, and it's I know this. You have to bump guys through your zone. I play basketball. It's just like basketball. You can't let guys run scot-free through your zone. You have to get in their way. You have to disrupt their path. You have to disrupt the timing. And Michigan just does not do it, man. They don't. They don't. They just let guys run free. It's bad. It's poorly coached, poorly done, and the season isn't over because you can play a bad game on the road and lose 2 games twice. But this Washington game is an important game because they're going to present all of the same problems. I heard Damon might have a lingering injury from the last game, but you're going to have all of the same problems that you had in this game come then. And you're going to have all the same problems in this game when you're facing Maryland the week before you then have to have all the same problems against Ohio State. So we'll see if they're fixed. I'm leaning not likely, but we'll see. That's my final comment.
You think you got it bad?
Well, we're gonna get into the fucking shit show. I'm gonna tell you, Quist, this is a safe space. Just let it out for a little bit. I will interrupt you because I do have some thoughts on this. I want you to vent because this is year 2 of ass.
Yeah.
And 3 of the last 4 of bad ball. So give it to me, brother.
Yeah, since 21, bad ball. I don't know where to start. I've given up in the season. I think a bowl game is still possible, but man, the effort, the tackling, the play calling, your quarterback supposedly audibling to a toss play, which shout out to the people around me at the stadium because I could not get over running a fucking toss play. He checked out of a sneak, so that's on Childs, I guess. But that was the catalyst.
How can you even check into a toss play on 4th and 1?
Yeah, I don't know.
How's that even a possibility?
I don't know. But yeah, the catalyst of the game was that toss. Terrible. And, shout out to UCLA. I don't know what the fuck they got going on, but they figured something out. But at the same time, her execution, 8 for 17 for Childs for 66 yards. At least Alessio just throws it up to Marsh. It makes me feel a little bit okay. Marsh might be gone. We were kind of by where, if he runs a route towards our side of the field, you can just kind of see he's, walking off. I don't think he gives up and leaves state, but it's possible with all the money being thrown around. In the defense, it's just it's the same thing. We're dropping back, and we're getting diced up with no pressure. And Nico, he's not bad, but he's fine. 16 for 24 for 180, nothing crazy. And, former Spartan dog, Jalen Berger gashed us.
Game.
He's in his 7th year probably. He had a tutty. They ran the ball.
2 receiving, too.
Yeah. Yeah, he had 3 touchdowns. So that's just, I don't think he's done anything all year. So, for me, KB, it really comes on tackling, which I think has gotten progressively worse, like I've said, since week 1. Play calling on both sides of the ball, which is coaching. And then, I don't want to be out on Smith. It's his 2nd season. I think that's way too fast to want to fire a guy in his hot seat. His buyout's $30 million, so that's something else to think of too. And I saw a clip where a guy said he was texting a high-level donor, and the donor even said that he wouldn't even pay up any money to do that. So there's a lot of things happening. I don't think coaching has been great. Just a lot of coach speak in interviews and saying it could be better. Well, then what needs to change? You got a big rival game at home in 2 weeks. Indiana boat raced you last year at home. They're probably going to boat race you again in Indiana. If they lose by 50 points, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets fired. But then you're going into a Michigan game, which if you win that game, you're going to save your fucking job. And I don't know if he can even get that done the way these guys are playing. It falls on the players because, like I said last week or in the preview, players make plays, KB. But, man, the coaching, the energy, I feel like the team kind of gave up. I left in the 3rd quarter. I don't like leaving early. But, you could tell 24-7 at half, the game was pretty much done and over. And people are calling for him to get fired and all this stuff. It's his 2nd season. I don't know who you can get. We're going to be in competition for coaching carousel is going to be insane this year with potential guys that could get fired. Obviously already now, but to end the year. But if you don't get these guys going at all and almost make a bowl game, if it's 5-7 again, and you got a new AD in who knows what he's doing, can get money, built up a Georgia Tech team that's successful this year. So I would say that has a little bit to do with J-Bat. It's very frustrating. A lot of the other athletics are doing well at Michigan State, and the football team is that obviously in college football that's the high one next to basketball, and it was just embarrassing. I don't want to say I deserve this, but I think the university and how we were in the mid 2010s compared to like what happened. I know we had Coach D'Antonio when we started to recruit different, but then you fall off a cliff because I'm not ever going to blame D'Antonio for this. People might. Yeah, he stayed for a year or too long. Okay. You get Tucker. Kenneth Walker saves your ass for a season, which could help you get more talent in. Well, Tucker fucks up. He's gone. And then Smith, whatever he's trying to do is not working. So time to look in the mirror. If you get boat raced by Indiana, I don't know what's going to happen because you could do it again against Michigan. And I don't know if you'd wait because I don't want him to get fired, but I feel like there's probably a lot of more people who have a lot more money than I do that are saying to J-Bat, get him out. You got to win. And if you can't win against Indiana and a big rival like Michigan, if you get blown out at home again, I wouldn't be surprised, unfortunately, if he gets fired, as much as I don't want that to happen. But the players kind of gave up. The coaching hasn't been good. I would even say, once again, KB, the crowd was pretty. It was 70,000 people. So people did show up again expecting a win, and to say, disappointed is, I texted from our account. I said, I'm done. Then I said, I will always support this team because I'll never give up as a true fan. I'm not a fair weather guy, but it's just, I love the tailgate. I love being in Lansing, but I love being in the game and watching our team win more than anything. And it's just, besides a nice stint in the mid-2010s, it's in 21, it's been abysmal. And people might want Franklin. People probably want Saban and Meyer. I don't think that's realistic. So I guess we'll see what happens in this coaching carousel. I think Smith could have some time if he starts to win, but you ain't going to win the way we're playing against Indiana and a decent Michigan team. Rant over.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be really weird if 2 out of the last 3 years MSU's having an interim coach for the Michigan game. That'd be really, really wild, all things considered in 23 and then this year. So I doubt that they do that, but I think the disappointing thing is Jonathan Smith isn't like the high end, I'm going to be able to recruit the top end guys. It's like, I'm going to build a foundation and blah, 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 blah. Well, that foundation isn't impressive. Yeah. You brought Childs in, and hopefully he's okay because he got fucking wham sauce.
You said potential targeting, but
I thought it was a targeting. I thought at least it should have been reviewed. And the commentators in Big Ten Network were like, yeah, they're going to review this for sure. And nothing fucking happened. Which is kind of how this game went, right? It just kind of felt like a comedy of errors, one after the other, that just led to mistakes and dumb things. Like you said, well, QB sneak or pitch. Why are those the 2 options on 4th and 1?
Yeah.
And
on your own 34, which is...
Yeah. I just feel like MSU comes into the game prepared for the first...
That first drive was
10
good.
minutes? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
They can defend the first drive a little bit. They can do something. And then, as soon as the next sequence happens, it just feels like it's an overwhelming experience. Now... I don't think you should react to anything that happens at Indiana. I don't even want to know what the line's at. But the Michigan game, right, is an opportunity to save his job. And Michigan isn't playing fundamental football either. They're missing tackles. And there's opportunity, right? There's some strengths and weaknesses line up. So I think that's more of a key indication or point in time to measure what's happening. And again, it's so tough because, like you said, well, you look at Sig in 2 years, he's probably going to the playoff twice, maybe even competing for a natty, and you guys didn't have that. And I would say...
we picked Smith was the first guy that went off the coaching carousel.
Yeah, but Smith was the guy. And I think part of it was he couldn't get as many Oregon State guys to come as I think he wanted.
Coach just got fired. 0-7.
Yeah. And that is of redeeming quality. And I was talking with a good buddy Jeff about hey, sometimes when a coach leaves and everything behind him is a fucking disaster, that's how you know he was a good coach.
True.
And so that's maybe some levity here. I think one thing too is having gone through the Rich Rod. That was right when I was a young kid, really getting into sports. When you're young, you can't appreciate sports as much as you do when you start getting to middle school and you start knowing things about the sport itself. And then in high school, obviously had Hoke. And I think fans have been 100% right 100% of the time when you have that gut feeling that this isn't the guy. Like, because you see it.
Yeah.
You see the on-field results. Because, like, even when, like, you watch, like, a bad team play, like, and you, like, Purdue this year, they're struggling. But they're doing things to make things interesting. And they're not there yet, but at least it looks like they're coached well. Maybe they don't have the players, maybe they don't have the scheme fully down yet, but it's like you see spurts of greatness. And Jonathan Smith has been spurts of mediocre.
Yeah.
His best win is against Iowa last year.
Yep.
That QB is starting at East Tennessee State or something like that. Like,
yes,
that's
correct.
his highlight. Like, at least, like, and we can talk about Sharon because people are calling for Sharon's job right after this loss. Is like, at least he beat OSU. Right, at least he's competed in some big games and fought. Smith is just the wet paper bag, it feels like.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk. I've talked about it, and D'Antonio didn't have a lot of emotion either. So this is something that I'm kind of curious because we were winning. It probably makes a difference, right? But I said it in the group chat, and I said it in the last episode, like, he is boring while D'Antonio was calm, which I don't know if there's a difference there, but some people might see that. And yeah, there's obviously money to be paid. Players can leave. There's a lot of other factors that I don't think people think about, like, just fire him. Well, Penn State's coach.
Will leave. Marsh is going to leave.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Marsh would be the big one. And if they do keep Smith through the end of the year, Marsh is gone, then Smith's got to go because that is a player you need to keep around because he's our best receiver since, I don't know, Jaden Reed probably. NFL talent. So it's pretty tough to watch, and being in the stadium and talking to a fellow, he went to Michigan State and a season ticket holder, like, I don't even know if I want to get tickets next year. That's kind of where we are. And we've been around and then had tickets and, watched his team be good and bad. But sometimes when Michigan State was 7-5 with D'Antonio and they were, like you just said, weren't playing great, they lose to Ohio State by 1 and they go for 2. Like, that's the kind of team. The 3-9 year with D'Antonio was weird, but then they bounce back to next year and go 11-2 or something. So it's an effort thing. You can't coach effort. NAL era brings a lot of other wrinkles in there, KB, and the sharing now and maybe having whatever for the Big Ten that's $2 billion to share all the money. There's a lot of weird things happening, and when you win the game, like Herzig does at Indiana, that's apples to apples we can do. They're all happy, and like you said, they'll probably have a statue for him. So we'll keep our eyes on this, KB. I don't even think I'll bet on us to win another game the rest of the year. But I did bet $40 on Nick Marsh for a touchdown, so shout out to that. That was my one big win of the day.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. Yeah, and I think we got to get into the last bit here. Look, you're down bad, but you're not preseason top 5, national championship or bust. Losing at home to Northwestern.
Go Cats, baby.
Look, I think that there's something to say here that most likely what we'd anticipate is that there would have been some changes around Happy Valley with how things went against UCLA. However, when you lose to Northwestern at home,
I love it.
When you lose your 5-star that you built this kind of run on, gone for the season.
Yeah, what was his injury?
I don't know if it was ankle or something. I missed it in the game because I was jumping back and forth.
Yeah.
But those are the things that you can't have happen. Like, if you're not going to win the big game, James Franklin, you can't also lose the games you're supposed to win. I think I saw a stat, or no, I know I saw a stat that Penn State is 2-2 this year as like 28-point favorites. The rest of the country is 67-0.
Oh my God, that's insane.
The worst in-season collapse maybe ever.
I mean, you went being from your whole team is coming back in the playoff. I think semifinal,
losing in a last-second pick to let up a field goal to Notre Dame. You were a drive away from going to the national championship.
To being in overtime, to potentially winning the game. 2 or 3 weeks later.
Double overtime.
2 or 3 weeks later, you lose UCLA, out there, which is, not a great loss, but it's, there's a little bit there. And then you lose at home to I love Northwestern KB. I got a lot of history with them with the NCAA, and I love seeing a team like them beat Penn State, but then you go and fire him, which we all probably saw it coming because he can't win the big game. But what was the buyout?
$67 million, I believe.
Dude, I get fired for fucking way less to do nothing. I mean, I'd be upset if I'm Franklin, but I'm like, 67 million, guys. Have fun. I'm going to get out of this small little town in Penn State and go to the fucking beach. Have fun. But yeah, we always have said this. He can't win the big one. They have 2 really bad losses after a heartbreaker at home, and, money talks and bullshit walks. So they said, see you later. I'm really curious to see who they end up hiring in the offseason. If it's like a Brian Kelly thing to LSU where we're like, whoa, what? Yeah,
like, I wonder who's going to leave? Is it going to be a free agent coach, or who's going to leave a program that we aren't anticipating and going there? Because you have, first off, they're switching to Adidas, which is wild. So they're going to have money to be able to move forward. But who's going to leave a position? Like, do they hire, and this is going to sound crazy, but like a Dabo? And I know Dabo isn't playing well, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Urban Meyer? That's what we're going to say over here.
Yeah, I mean, Urban Meyer. But I did hear some inklings, and I don't know how true this is, but I'm going to spread the rumor mill a little bit. Matt Rule was a name.
Wow.
That came up.
It was at Temple. It's not far.
For this job. So, look, I'm really interested to see, and we're going to see more firings. I believe Arkansas fired their coach too, right? Florida,
Arkansas, Billy Napier might be gone. Oregon State. What was the first one of the season? Why am I blanking? There's another coach that got fired to start the year that we kind of saw coming too.
I can't tell you. But yeah, I mean, Florida State, depending on how they finish this season, might be gone. There might be some huge openings in college football. And, like, who's the coach that, turns the page? Who's the coach that rises to success?
Mike Gundy. Trent Dilfer also got fired. Mike Gundy, Sam Pittman, Virginia Tech, Brett Pry. Yep. UCLA coach, obviously, Deshaun Foster. Oregon State coach, Trent Bray. And then Stanford coach as well, along with James Franklin.
So, I mean, and I don't think it's over. Now, friendly reminder, transfer portal is now going to be open 30 days from his firing, I think the next Monday or whatever. So there might be some people that leave the portal. But due to people not being able to redshirt, because most of them probably played past their redshirt ability, but you could see maybe a sophomore that was injured the first 2 weeks of the year that played in the last 3 games or something. So it's always really, really interesting to see. And it already impacted their 2027 5-star number 1 running back recruit in the country just decommitted to. Like, there's instantaneous impact. Obviously, another impact, and someone tweeted this out, and I think it's key to indicate here, there's families that get impacted with this. Like, James Franklin, you can hate him as much as you want, Penn State fans, but like, the offensive analyst that's, making maybe his first college job, or, all of these low-key guys, all these smaller people, they're going to have to figure out a new job next year when the new coach comes in. And that's just
interns, graduates.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So I just have that thought in your mind, hopefully everything goes well for them, but really tough. But Quist, that's all I have, man. Really disappointing weekend for both of us. I like it more when we can come on here and talk about 2 wins. Maybe we won't be able to do that much more this season. Obviously, Michigan has a really key game against Washington, and you guys are looking to avoid getting skull-fucked by Indiana. So it's going to be an interesting week to talk about the game, and I know we have some more interesting games on the menu, which I'm glad football's back, man, but it always sucks when you're talking about a loss. With all that being said, go Blue.
Yeah, Sam Laporta, hell of a catch right now, 17-20. Lions are down by 3. Great catch. Yeah, KB, I'm always a little bit of an optimist here, right? 5.5's the over-under. Vegas was on to something again. I don't know what they know. Yeah, I guess we'll see how the season plays out. If we get boat race 2 weeks in a row, unfortunately, as much as I don't want Smith to get fired, I would not be surprised if he got fired after Michigan, which I don't know who's going to pay for that, and I don't know who our next coach will be. There's a lot of talk about Max Bulla being a D coordinator. He's at Notre Dame. There's some other talks of other guys as well. I like the USF guy amongst other people, but we'll have that conversation down the road. We'll see how that plays out. Hopefully the guys can figure it out, KB, because I'm a do or die no matter what. But thanks, you guys, as always. We love drama. We love college football because it's a reality show, KB. So thanks you guys as always. Thanks for riding or dying with us. Penn State fans on the TikTok. Woof!
Maybe I caused all this. Did I cause all
KB,
this?
yeah, rage baited. Yeah, some little guy from Michigan out in Arizona is why this all happened, because their stadium has no, the field has no logo. But anyway,
yeah.
we love the drama. It's reality TV. But thank you guys as always from me. Go Green.